I do have a guest standing by to talk about what's happening in Georgia with this prosecutor who's trying to destroy Donald Trump, the Fulton County District Attorney Fanni Willis, who has a big scandal of her own. And the reason we know so much about it is because of my next guest. Katelynn Richardson is a contributor to the Daily Caller News Foundation, an excellent reporter who's been breaking all of these stories, and joins us now. Katelynn, great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, too. Thanks for having me on.
It is a remarkable saga, Katelynn, and the latest thing, as I understand it, is that Fanni Willis has not actually disclosed on her obligated financial disclosure forms all of the benefits that she's been receiving from a man who works with her and allegedly she's dating. What can you tell us?
Right. So elected officials in Fulton County are required to file annual financial disclosure reports and disclose gifts or favors above $100 for any prohibited source, which would include someone doing business with the county. Nathan Wade has a contract with the county, and so he would be covered under that. And Fanni Willis did not disclose in 2022 anything received from Wade. Now, we know for sure, based on bank statements, that Nathan Wade purchased a ticket to Miami in Willis's name in 2022.
In other words, that was something that should have been disclosed and was not.
Yeah, that's what talking to local attorneys and ethics experts, they told me that should have been on her form, and we're questioning why she didn't include that.
Maybe she got a great deal. Maybe it was under $100.
Well, the ticket was actually $444 according to the bank statements. And on the same day that ticket was purchased, Nathan Wade also made payments to the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line that were, exceeding $1,000. Obviously, those don't have her name attached, but if that was also something that was given to her, that should also have been disclosed.
How much money has Nathan Wade been paid by the taxpayers of either the state or federal government?
He's been paid over $654,000 from the district attorney's office since 2022, and his contract started in November 2021. And
what is her salary?
The amount that he is making is exceeding her salary, which is part of the problem here is that this contract is greater than what would be typical in Fulton County.
Right. Yeah. Fanni Willis's salary is something like $200-something thousand. It's not anywhere close to his. It's still a lot of money. But what it sounds like is, he's been getting a ton of cash because she hired him. And do we know, did their relationship start prior to her hiring him? Again, allegedly, did their intimate relationship start prior to his start date there?
The allegations in the motion, it cites, sources in the area, but it's not super clear when their relationship started.
Mm-hmm.
But he did file for divorce the day after the contract with Willis's office began.
Right. And so that divorce is ongoing. It sounds like it's a very messy affair right now.
Yeah, it's ongoing, and Fanni Willis actually was subpoenaed to testify in the divorce proceedings. This week, a judge allowed her to, avoid that deposition that was scheduled for this week, but she could still potentially, in coming weeks, be called on to testify.
One of her lawyers was arguing. I saw a clip of the lawyer arguing that she shouldn't have to testify because she's just too busy prosecuting the former president of the United States. I don't know. Do judges normally say, "Oh, okay, then you don't have to testify. You're just too busy"?
The judge wasn't thrilled with that argument during the hearing. He actually told the attorney not to bring it up. But yes, she did claim that Nathan Wade's wife, by making these filings, was actually obstructing justice, obstructing the Trump case. But again, the judge didn't seem to credit that argument.
Oh, good. Finally, a judge with his head on his shoulders, it sounds like. So today, we also find out that the state Senate in Georgia has launched a special committee to investigate Fanni Willis. How much trouble is she in, would you say? When you talk to experts, legal analysts and ethics experts and people from the outside who are looking at this assessing it, is she in some sort of peril here?
There's a lot going on. Obviously, as you said this morning, the state Senate approved this committee, which would be able to have the power to subpoena and call for documents. But also in court coming up on February 15th, there's going to be a hearing on the original motion that the Trump co-defendant filed making all of these allegations. And she's also going to have to file an answer in court on February 2nd. So she's going to have to give an account for this beyond what she's already said. She made statements shortly after the allegations came out in church claiming that, claiming this is all stemming from racism, and all three prosecutors were paid the same amount, which based on our reporting we know now isn't true. But yes, to answer the question, she is going to have to respond to this.
My understanding also is that Fanni Willis has actually in the past had conflicts of interest with 2020 election cases from which she's been removed. What do you know about that?
Yeah, she was removed earlier for political bias by the judge earlier.
Yeah.
And that, obviously, this is another related issue. Part of this morning, actually, one of the Georgia state representatives also submitted something for her to potentially be impeached, submitted a resolution calling for that, claiming that the Trump probe, was political bias.
Yes.
So that would tie in there. It's another thing to keep watching going forward.
If she's impeached, or if, for some reason she has to resign as a result of all of this, what does that mean for the case that she has brought against Trump?
Well, it could be assigned to another attorney.
Yes.
That would probably be the course of action that would happen. But part of this original motion filed by Trump co-defendant Michael Roman was calling for the case to be dismissed entirely. So we're going to have to wait for that hearing on the 15th before Judge Scott McAfee to see exactly what happens, if Willis will be disqualified, if the case will be dismissed.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of other dramatic components to this. One is that I saw that the Trump team is seeking to have Fanni Willis thrown off the case for racial bias because she went and she spoke before a black church in a very public statement recently, and they say that she demonstrated racial animus towards Trump and his co-defendants, and was insisting that the criticisms of her are entirely and Nathan Wade are based on race and not on any merit-based category.
Yeah, so Trump just yesterday, he moved to adopt that original motion by that co-defendant who made these allegations. And in that filing, as you just said, his attorneys alleged that she's trying to, introduce racial bias into this case and is actually violating Georgia's rules of professional conduct by doing that. During that speech, she went through the three prosecutors on the case. She said, I hired all of these people and they're only attacking one of them.
Yes.
Referencing Nathan Wade because of his race. So obviously Trump's attorneys see a problem there.
Well, you had a report on this subject. So after she gave that speech, I was fascinated to see your reporting because she claimed during that speech that she paid all of these three subordinates the same exact amount of money. She's like, I hired three different people. I pay them all the same. They're only attacking the black guy. That was basically, I'm summarizing her remarks. But then you reported, actually, no, that's not true. Nathan Wade was being paid substantially more, at least at the outset, than the actual RICO expert that she hired, a guy who would actually be qualified to be a part of the prosecuting team. What did you learn?
Yeah, the breakdown on that is based on contracts that we obtained. Nathan Wade is being paid $250 an hour since the start of his contract, but the attorney who's known as the top RICO expert in the state, John Floyd, was only being paid $150 when his initial contract was started, and as recently as May 2023 was only being paid $200 an hour. So that essentially debunks her claim that she paid all three the same hourly rate.
Yeah, that's for sure. You've got the paperwork. You've got the literal receipts on the subject. All right. Thank you, Katelynn Richardson. I really appreciate your reporting and your time today. Thank you so much for joining us.